Have you ever just stopped and thought about how incredibly complex your own body is? I mean, it's this amazing machine with literally trillions of parts, all working together perfectly. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the fundamental blueprint that makes it all possible. And we're going to start with the biggest question of all.
So get this, your body is made of billions of individual cells. Billions! That is just an astronomical number. So how in the world do they all coordinate to do everything from, digesting your lunch to just thinking a thought? Well, the answer isn't chaos. It's actually a beautifully simple system of organization.
And that system is all about levels. Think of it like building a house. You start with the smallest parts and build your way up. You've got individual cells. Those are your bricks. Those bricks group together to form tissues. Those are the walls. Then the tissues combine to make organs, which are kind of like the different rooms in the house. And finally, all those organs work together in organ systems, which is the whole, fully functioning home. Today, we're zeroing in on that really crucial second step, tissues.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to reveal the 4 fundamental building materials. Then, we'll dive into the tissues that cover and line everything, the ones that connect and support the body, and of course, the ones that make it move and think. And to wrap it all up, we'll see how they all come together to build the final masterpiece, a functioning organ.
All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, the 4 building materials. And you might be surprised to learn that every single complex animal, I'm talking from a tiny little mouse to a gigantic blue whale, is built from the exact same fundamental components.
So how many basic types of this stuff are there? You might think hundreds, maybe thousands, right? Nope, it's just 4. That's it. The unbelievable complexity of the entire animal kingdom is built from just 4 basic types of tissue. Kind of blows your mind, doesn't it? And here they are. You've got epithelial tissue for covering things, connective tissue for supporting them, muscular tissue for moving, and neural tissue for controlling the whole show. For the rest of this explainer, we're basically going on a tour of these 4 foundational materials that build a body from the ground up.
First up are coverings and linings. This is the world of epithelial tissue. You can think of it as the body's first line of defense. Its main interface with, well, everything.
What's so cool about epithelial tissue is that it works on 2 fronts. It's your outer covering, your skin, but it also lines the inside of all your organs. The paint and wallpaper analogy is perfect. It just coats every single surface, inside and out, keeping everything protected and right where it's supposed to be.
And this tissue comes in different shapes for different jobs. You've got these flat squamous cells in places like your lungs and blood vessels. They're super thin, perfect for letting stuff like oxygen pass right through. Then you have cube-shaped, cuboidal cells in your kidneys, great for secretion. And you've got these tall columnar cells lining your intestine, which give you a ton of surface area to absorb nutrients. And this is where the design gets really, really smart. For a job like protection, say on your skin, the body stacks these cells up in multiple layers. We call that compound epithelium. But for something like absorption in your gut, it just uses a single thin layer. That's simple epithelium. It's just a perfect example of form-following function.
Okay, on to our next building material. We've covered the body, but now we gotta hold it all together. So welcome to the world of connective tissue.
Yeah, the name kind of gives it away, right? This tissue's whole job is to link and support everything else. So if epithelial tissue is the wallpaper, connective tissue is the actual structural framework of the house. It's the scaffolding, the glue, the foundation that gives the body its shape and its strength. And don't ever underestimate how important this stuff is. The source material makes it clear that connective tissue is the most abundant and widely distributed tissue in the whole body. It is literally everywhere, holding you together from head to toe. And the diversity here is just wild. Connective tissue isn't just one thing. It's the soft, loose tissue you find right under your skin. It's the super tough, dense tissue that makes up your tendons and ligaments. And get this, it's even specialized tissues like cartilage, bone, and blood. I know, right? Blood? But think about it. Why is it connective? Because its cells are floating around in a fluid matrix, the plasma, and its main job is to connect the entire body by hauling nutrients and waste from one place to another. Pretty cool. All right, so our structure is covered and it's all connected. Now it's time to bring it to life with the body's movers and shakers, muscle and neural tissues. Okay, so we've got coverings, we've got connectors, but how does the body actually do anything? How does it move? How does it react? How does it process information? Well, that's where our next 2 tissues come into play. First up, muscle tissue. These are the body's engines. Their one unique superpower is the ability to contract, to shorten, with a whole lot of force. Every single movement you make, from lifting a finger to your heart beating, is powered by these incredible contracting fibers.
And there are three main types. You've got skeletal muscle, which is the stuff you control consciously. It's attached to your bones. Then there's smooth muscle. That's involuntary. It works automatically in places like your stomach. And finally, cardiac muscle. Also involuntary, but it's found in only one place, your heart, where it just works tirelessly, day in and day out for your entire life.
But, engines are pretty useless without a driver, and that's where neural tissue comes in. This is the body's command center, the master controller. It senses what's going on, processes all that information, and then sends out commands to the rest of the body.
And the star of this whole show is this cell right here, the neuron. Neurons are these amazing, excitable cells that act like living wires. When they get stimulated, they generate a tiny electrical pulse that zips down their length, carrying a signal to the next neuron, or maybe to a muscle cell, telling it what to do. It's basically the body's very own biological internet.
So we have our 4 building materials. Now, in this last section, let's see how they all combine to create the final masterpiece, a fully functioning organ.
And this is maybe the biggest takeaway of all. These tissues don't work alone. Not at all. They are organized with incredible precision, in very specific proportions and patterns, to create organs. And it's this teamwork, this collaboration, that allows for functions way more complex than any single tissue could ever manage on its own.
And the heart is just the perfect example of this. I mean, think about it. It uses that powerful cardiac muscle tissue to do all the pumping. It has neural tissue to tell that muscle when to beat. It uses dense connective tissue to form the strong valves and the overall structure. And it has smooth epithelial tissue to provide a friction-free lining for the chambers. All 4 working in perfect symphony to create one single life-sustaining function. It's just incredible.
So there you have it, the 4 fundamental building materials that construct every complex animal on the planet. We've seen the bricks, we've seen the wallpaper, the framework, the engines, and the wiring. But that leaves us with one last really fascinating question. What's the master blueprint? How does the body know how to arrange all these tissues to build a heart right here and a lung over there? Well, that's a story for another time. Thanks for joining me.